I wrote all these songs sitting down with an acoustic guitar in a room.
Recording this album was a blast.
The tone of the record was going to be very acoustic driven.
There's so many different elements to this record.
I wanted to make this music timeless.
You really can't categorize it.
It was a dream record.
The songs in this album weren't extensively demoed.
This is where I am in my life.
And it was definitely different because we didn't have a band.
It was a very cool experience making this record. It was a lot of fun. Well, the tone of the record was, it didn't really start with, we didn't have an exact idea of what the tone of the record was going to be when we started. We basically laid down, 10 songs on an acoustic guitar, and as we started to put the other instruments together, we started to realize that the tone of the record was going to be very acoustic driven, with a certain rock feel, not too hard rock, more on the pop rock side. And it slowly turned into a record that was going to be very musically diverse.
Every song is different. I think that's what makes this album so special because you really can't categorize it.
The songs came in very rough, just on acoustic guitar, and we literally started to layer all the instruments together.
We went in really not having a game plan. Everything was off the cuff, and we just kind of threw things against the wall and figured out what sounded good as soon as we recorded them.
It was like baking a cake and putting one layer after another on top of the other, and creating the sonic landscape of just different textures. And since the song started so raw with just an acoustic guitar, we were really able to go in and not have any boundaries and not have any limitations on what we were going to do and where we were going to take the songs.
All my life I've waited for you. Something real, something new. And when I think before you came around, it always brings me back to...
The record was done in Culver City at Racehorse Studios, a nice commercial facility that my friend Duncan owns. And we did some of the drums at one location, some keyboards at the other, but the bulk of the record was done in one studio, all the vocals and guitars and everything. And it proved to be a great experience because since I didn't have a band, it was essentially just myself and Steve and the producer in there just working on stuff. So it was a very cool experience making this record. It was a lot of fun.
we have Doug's new Indian name, Nudge Nudge Toon Toon. The producer, Doug Trantow.
Well, I met Doug sort of accidentally, actually. He wasn't the original producer that was going to work on the record. He had come from producing, big artists from hard rock bands like Korn to Hanson to Hootie and the Blowfish, so he was really familiar with a lot of different styles and wasn't limited to just one genre.
He has a certain way of telling you whether or not he likes a part that you've just done.
You really find out what a producer does on a record when you sit with him day in and day out. Having a guy like Doug was extraordinary because he brought things to the table that I could have never brought and never had experienced before. So it was a great experience. Made a new friend.
Catch me, I'm falling like ashes from the sky. I'm clouded by the doubt that's in my mind. Patiently waiting, things will be alright. I'm picking up the pieces in my life. I'm picking up the pieces in my life.
I sat with my friend Steve and talked for months and months about what to do with this record.
Mark called me up and said he wanted to get this album done 4 months, and I told him he was crazy.
So I was able to hire people who I can call my friends, but are some of the the coolest guys that I know and some of the best players around. I hired Joey Heredia and Marco Mendoza and John Now. Had a percussionist John Fitzgerald come in. It was a dream record, and I brought the best musicians I could.
They're pushing me all the way. Those games they play. Tomorrow is mine. The words that I hope to hear will make it clear that tomorrow is mine today.
Because I went into this record with no band, and after several months of coercing my best friend to join aboard, we'd done several things before, fun things and some studio stuff, and you know, I knew I wanted to work with him. I knew we had a great vocal blend together, and I knew that I wanted somebody on board that was like-minded.
Mark and I have been working together for quite a few years, and we've done some acoustic demos in my home studio, as well as a bunch of live shows, just the two of us with a couple acoustic guitars.
There's pros and cons to having your best friend play with you. You know, one thing is that there's a lot of honesty.
We tend to butt heads a lot because we're so opinionated, but it's more out of the passion that we both have for the final outcome.
You know, the other side is that you have that friendship, and sometimes it's hard to separate friendship from work.
It's good knowing that you have a friend there that can be completely honest with you.
Having people that you trust and having people that you know that have the same mentality and the same talent as you on board.
And it was definitely different because we didn't have a band, and you know, we weren't bouncing off ideas with 5 different guys.
It was cool just having your friend to go over the rough mixes with and just decide and move on.
The hurt subsides, but never goes away. Do you think we can escape? Can it be surreal, this pain I feel? Or is it something that I can see? Does it take my tears till you finally believe who I am and what is me?
You know, the way that the record was written and the attitude that I went in with this record was to be wide open. What I did take from today's bands was the bands that stood out to me that had a sonic identity. And I think that people like it because it's simple. And I think the more real the music is, the broader your audience can be. People like to connect to music and what's real.
3, 4. You got to believe. You got to believe. I know the things you need, and everything you seek is here and real. So dig down deep, pray your soul won't fall. Does it feel like you're invincible underneath it all?
Well, I actually found Neil on MySpace, which was ironic because I didn't think a guy like that would be on there. And I found him on there one day, and I sent him an email and said, hey, you probably don't shoot, you know, unsigned artists, and you're probably just used to working with hot girls and rock stars. I said, but you know, I'm a big fan of your work, and I'd love to work with you. And he emailed me right back, and he was a great guy. We went down there for an awesome shoot. It was truly the rock and roll experience.
Working with Neil was an interesting thing. Neil is probably the biggest rock photographer in the world, and we're standing in a studio where all of these great artists have stood, and it was a little intimidating at first, I gotta tell you. He's got the music just cranked, and he's just barking out commands.
Come on, here we go, right there. Just look like you're gonna jam that fucking thing down my throat. Good. One more, come on, right the fuck here. Good, all good.
And you're trying to listen to everything he's saying, but the music is so loud.
So I'm thinking about here. So right now I'm just getting raw.
He truly knows how to capture the essence of who you are. He was great, he was fantastic, and ultimately we ended up using one of his pictures for the cover. And a lot of the pictures on the inside too.
But you're gone, and it's been so long. What I would give to see your face again. Since you're gone, I've been holding on. Does anyone deserve to feel this way?
Making a video is going to be great. I called up my cousin George about a month ago and pretty much begged him to shoot this video.
Before finishing this record, we decided the smart thing to do was to put together a press kit and to do a video, because the best way to sort of gain mass appeal and get to people is, you know, through audio and through video. And now with the internet, you can make your own video and post it on your website, and people are viewing it every day.
I think picking the song Different for the first video is a perfect fit for what Mark is trying to do.
We decided we wanted a performance video, but we looked at a song that had some meaning behind it, a little substance. You know, it's sort of an introspective song about looking at yourself and seeing how you fit into the world and how everybody's different, and how despite, you know, the odds, and despite how everybody has their place in life, that, you know, you sort of become okay with being yourself and being a little different.
Why does it seem I'm so much different than the rest? Do I appear to you to be a mess? Just like a sun that changes colors, aren't we all like one another? I wanna be myself, I wanna be a great dictator, a villain or even a superhero saves the day.
The internet has become the new record store. With the advent of iTunes and MySpace, an artist from his bedroom can reach millions of people around the world.
Steve finally forced me to look at MySpace, and there was a part of me that was very hesitant, because I thought, it's just one big chat room, and, you know, can people really listen, and what's this going to do for me? And, you know, in a matter of a month, I had fans, you know, in Norway and in Belgium, people that would have never otherwise heard my music.
An avenue to get your music out to the masses.
The internet has such mass exposure to so many people that you can essentially put your, you know, your entire life story on there, and everybody can see it. So it's been a great thing, and it was really instrumental in me deciding how to market this record and how to get it to the masses.
You come back to me.
I know timing, I was trying to get the feel.
That was kind of cool.
Does that note, those notes work or what?
I think so.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Let's try it one more time.
Will it end? Is there a chance you'll come back to me? Promise me anything, just don't lie to me.
This record and the songs that I wrote that are in it, all 10 of them, are a representation of every different side of my life, whether it's my family or my love life or my friends, my past, growing up as a kid, whatever. Everything has its place and has, in some way or another, shaped and formed my life and the things that I've experienced. I sort of wanted it to be something that was very universal and sort of never-ending. These things as they go through are infinite, and there's always experiences, and there's always new changes and turns, and this is where I am in my life, and these are the shades of, you know, the things that have formed my life and made me the person, the songwriter, and the artist that I am.
Okay.
All right, so let's try it.
What's the bridge?
Bridge, yeah.
All right.
She'll find a way to get by.
Just like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
She'll find a way to get by. Older and wiser she has become. She'll get by. Never feeling the need to run. She'll hold tight. Awaken to life for the very first time.
The way that we've handled the production, I think the way that we really picked the right songs to do was, it was very, very thought out. Not contrived or strategically planned. I think we realized that, you know, in order to get people to really listen and to find the uniqueness in the music, that we were going to have to go with a little bit more of a real approach.
I think people are going to really dig this album. It's going to be something that they're not going to expect.
I think that this record is going to be received really well because it is real. It's not the best music ever written. It's not better than any other artist. It's just real, and people can connect to it, and at the same time it has, it's just inviting. It's inviting on the ears.
I fall for you. I fall for you. I fall for you. I fall for you.